A big, bad, beautiful news is coming for the Europeans, and this is a special gift from Donald J. Trump for its European allies. That's what Trump has been doing, and doing this favor to the European. Trump has a hammer in his hand, and he is pushing and again hitting the Europeans. And this time, Trump has said that Trump is going to put an extra 25% tariffs on all of Europeans' automobile industry. So each car and each truck that would be going into the US would be facing 25% extra tariff, so that European economy should collapse in the best possible way. That's what Trump is doing to all of its allies, and especially there is a very special kind of focus over the Europeans. So what US has been really doing to the Europeans, that is very interesting story. US, the whole of United States of America, pushed Ukraine to be the part of NATO, which was not necessary, which was not mandatory, and it was a big strategic mistake. But US did it anyway, and they pushed Ukraine to be a part of NATO, and eventually they brought this war for Ukraine and for all of Europeans, and US basically pushed the Ukraine into that war, and they later on left Ukraine alone. And when Vladimir Zelensky went to the Donald Trump for seeking some help, well, Trump humiliated him in the best possible way in the Oval Office, and the whole world saw it. And what happened to the Europe in return? Well, Europe faced energy crisis. Europe faced double prices of oil, LNG, and every energy needs that Europe was trying to fulfill, all of it from the Russian help. And Nord Stream 2 was blown up, and that's how Europe paid the price for a war that was imposed from the US and for the US strategic interest, which backfired later on. That was not in the calculation. It was always not in the American calculations that things would backfire. But anyway, they went to the war, and the inflation went up, unemployment went up, and Europe came out as the biggest loser out of that catastrophe. And after that, after the American sanctions over the Russia, Europe went to the GCC countries for oil at a cheaper price, for LNG at a cheaper price. And what US did? They started a war with Iran, and Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz. Iran hit all of oil refineries and LNG plants. So who is the biggest loser in the entire situation? Again, Europe, because Europe was relying on GCC countries for its oil needs, for its energy needs, and now that only sole thing from which they were trying to fulfill their all of energy needs, that is closed too, thanks to Donald J. Trump. And now Trump is saying that I'll put an extra 25% tariffs on all of European goods coming to the US, and especially the automobile industry. And what Europeans have been saying from the start of this war, they were saying, do not start war with Iran. We do not need this. Iran is nowhere near to acquiring a nuclear bomb. That's what American owned intelligence agencies were saying. And then Europeans said, okay, we do not want to be a part of this. We cannot help you in this. We cannot send our ships and all of our military equipment there. We do not want our troops to be dead in the Strait of Hormuz. This is a war of choice. And this is an unprovoked war that you are heading into. But anyway, Trump has said that I am losing this war. Situation is getting worse for me, and so I do not know to do anything. So what about putting an extra 25% tariffs on Europe, on all of its automobile industry? Well, that's what Trump thinks. Well, in the next day, he would wake up and then he'll think, okay, let's put another extra 25% tariffs on Europe. So what the hell is wrong with you? Why Trump is doing this to Europe? Why Europe is always a victim of all of American ambitious goals in the region, of all the American strategic gains? Whenever Trump or US is on a rampage for its own strategic goals, why Europe is the only one to pay the whole of price? If that is going to backfire the American strategic goal, that's what happened in the Ukraine war. That's what happening in the Gulf war that they're writing against Iran with all of its buddies and with the assistance of Israel. And Europe is the only one paying the price. So that was the breaking news that was just coming in, and I have brought it to you. So please leave your comment and like our channel, and please do hit the subscribe button.